Yo, what's up? I saw this video from Will, and he's one of my favorite YouTubers, so let's watch it.
The people in Camden are poor or working poor. They spend on average 40% of their annual income on food.
This is Camden, New Jersey, home of America's worst food.
And this is becoming more and more prevalent all across the USA for sure, but there are definitely some places that are really, really bad. Where I live, some of the country's poorest cities exist here, and it's unbelievably bad. I mean, no grocery stores. Dollar General is the closest thing that you have to a grocery store in your place. It's really unbelievable. A lot of people tend to have this idea in their head that everybody has options, but a lot of times when you live in a place like this, man, I mean, your odds of getting out are just unbelievably low because you don't have access to anything that can help you get out. You don't have access to the kind of money that will allow you to move away. You don't have access to food that you can eat that can make you feel decent. You don't have access to clean water a lot of times. It's really different for a lot of people.
Desert, meaning healthy, fresh foods are inaccessible to the people. They have plenty of food, but it's all highly processed junk. Today, I'm going to see how bad a food desert
I love some
really
ramen
is.
though. Man, I hate canned meat.
We're currently
I
out
eat
front
it
of
sometimes,
the city's only gym right now, Broadway Fitness, and not the best area. I feel like I should have.
Yeah, people who aren't from gritty cities, I think, and that's sort of the term I've been using for these kinds of places is gritty city, aren't used to how bad the areas can be. I see a lot of people who live in suburbs and suburbs of bigger, nicer cities, and they act like, man, they just have no idea. It's pretty ridiculous. If you've never seen somebody falling asleep standing up before multiple times a day, you don't have any idea what you're talking about with this kind of stuff.
Watch The Wire to prepare for this video. By the looks of the outside
I've started watching The Wire literally 2 days ago. I got to watch 30 seconds of it before Tiff's mom called her.
If somebody asked me to work in, I think there's only one answer to give. So we're gonna go in there and see if we can find anything out.
If you type in gyms in Camden, only 3 show up. The University Gym, the 76ers practice facility, and Broadway Fitness, meaning this is the only public gym for the community. Not only is this a food desert, it's also a fitness desert, which means locals have little or no access to work out, which is why nearly half of the people in Camden haven't participated in any physical activity within the past month.
That's pretty wild. We're coming at this from a perspective of a lot of things that I've talked about before. And I know that fitness is pretty low down on people's lists of things that are important a lot of times, but in general, fitness is extremely important, and affordable fitness is very difficult to provide to people, especially because the more affordable the fitness becomes, the more problems you have maintaining the equipment and the facilities. And that's just a matter of economics, right? You lower prices to a point that eventually you bring in so many people that it's just the wear and tear, and plus the lower income for the gym a lot of times creates the inability to replace or improve the facilities. The Planet Fitness that is close to me, just most of the machines are damaged at this point. The hydro massage beds and the tanning beds are all out of order now, and they don't seem like they have any desire to fix it.
We just unexpectedly walked into one of the sickest gyms I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's so old school.
Yeah. See, this is the kind of gym that I actually want to discover. I go to a gym that's pretty decent, but it's more of a yuppie kind of gym, and I want to find gyms like this, but I feel like you have to be invited. I know you can just walk in, but I've got anxiety, dude.
And just like feel the freaking passion in here to lift. It's sick. Damn, man. There's some history in here. Wow. Do you know what a fitness desert is? So basically, it's like where people don't really have access to a gym. Now that you know that Camden's one, can you see that?
Absolutely, I could see it to a certain extent as far as gyms, but as far as just that fitness culture, like we've always been getting to it. The whole city is full of athletes. You got a women's league going on. You got a women's flag football league in the city.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing too. A lot of times you'll see really strong community programs in places that are relatively downtrodden poor. Sorry, I have cat hair all over my face. We talk about these places a lot of times as if they are just totally wrecked and ruined, but something really amazing does happen, especially around where I live, where the sense of community is so much more incredible. And yeah, there's the guys nodding off around, there's the people who have been smoking since the day they were born and they're now in their 50s, there's the crime and all of that stuff. But it's like in The Wire when they talk about Snot Boogie and how he used to grab the money and run away. And then they say, well, if you knew that he was going to do this every single time, why did you let him play? And he said, well, that's America, man. We have to let him play. And that's the truth of communities like this. Even the people who are messed up, you might try to avoid them, but you know them, you've known them for so long that you're still intertwined with them in some kind of way. So the sense of community is really, really deep and rich. I don't know what it's like in bigger cities, but I assume that people are more sectioned off and view people as being extremely different than them. But when I look around and I'm in a sketchy part of town, I don't think of the people there as being beneath me or anything. They're just part of my city, and they're the people who are there. And I have friends who I've seen be in those states before. I've experienced that kind of life myself at times, and you learn that other people are just people like you, but they're going through some kind of situation, and that's something that gives you this insane maybe not generosity, but definitely empathy in your heart for what they're going through, because you remember all the times that you've been in a bad spot and somebody has shown you little kindness. And that's, I have a hard time if a homeless person approaches me, I have a hard time not making eye contact with them and saying to them and talking to them, because I think that that's how people go crazy, is when you start to just ignore people constantly. I mean, it doesn't make them less people because of the situation that they're in. And that's something that a lot of us really lose sight of because we're so busy with our own lives, and we hate the inconvenience of the fact that there are people out there who are struggling.
Kids, flag leagues, they got youth football. But
good for them.
A lot of people don't know how to work out. A lot of people can't get to certain places to work out.
Totally.
So a lot of us go.
Now, that's a really good point. A lot of people don't know how to work out, and it's the most embarrassing thing in the world to ask how to work out. It has taken me, probably 5 years to really understand lifting and understand, to accumulate enough information about it to put the idea together in my head well enough to set up a program and make sense of it for myself. And that is such a challenge that if you're not super interested in it, you're probably not going to undertake that challenge. And lifting is such an important part of improving your overall health and wellness. The cardiovascular portion of exercise is very, very good. But if you're somebody who's overweight and you're trying to lose weight, losing weight is fine. But if you're just dieting in a really aggressive way, say you're only eating fruits and vegetables or whatever, you're going to put that weight back on, because when you come off of that diet, you're probably going to just eat the only other way that you know how to eat. But if you build a routine of fitness around it, if you build muscle, you increase the amount of calories that you burn every single day, which dramatically increases the amount that you can eat before you start gaining any weight. You can increase the weight that you sit at while still having a healthy body and good physique. And you naturally start to learn how to eat better in a way that is approachable. I mean, today I ate a slice of Sam's Club pizza, which is huge, as big as my head, and half of a frozen yogurt from Sam's Club. And then I came home and ate egg whites, Greek yogurt, banana, honey, cinnamon, oatmeal, like just a protein shake, greens powder, these things that sort of support my diet in a way that is really healthy. And those are things that I didn't learn about. I didn't learn or understand the macronutrients. And that's something that takes so long to build. The understanding of things is so much deeper than the knowledge of things, and that takes so much time to build, and we're just not taught it, especially in America, and it's really unfortunate.
Outside the city.
Sure.
Thank God for people like Will Tennyson.
Man, I'm ready to live, man. Yeah, let's go.
Look at how big that dude is, bro. Look at that chest, boy.
You don't know
Those shoulders.
Is?
Oh my
Best
gosh.
musician of all time.
Forearms too.
You want to hear it? Put it on. We're actually putting John Mayer on in here. There's no way. Yo, I'm gonna get looks right now.
Go ahead, put it on. Told you, bro. Whatever you want to play, you play. Fire. Fire.
There's no way.
Fire. I get with you. I'm at the gym. This what you PR to?
Yeah.
How you do that?
I don't know, I'll move some heavy weight to this.
I'm talking about this music. You make this music. Come on, you sure you want to talk to my old behind?
Yeah, man, what's your name?
Bear.
Bear?
Bro, Will is so willing to put himself out there and be uncomfortable around new people that it really shows what charisma is all about. It's about being yourself everywhere that you go. There's a thing that people do that I think about a lot called code switching, which is when you get around people who aren't like you, whether, it be that you're a white guy and you get around black people, or whether it be that you're, around women, or whether it be that you're around gay people or whatever, and you start to shift, or rednecks, you start to shift how you behave because you're trying to make them like you or fit in with them. And that's problematic because then you have this anxiety of, oh, now I have to develop all of these different personalities, and it gives you this fear of going out and being around new people. But if you practice primarily who you are on the inside and who you know that you are, and that's who you present to everybody, regardless of how it makes them feel, it puts everybody in a situation to where they get to be themselves. I always think that the best thing you can do is be yourself, because it gives everyone else around you permission to be themselves. And by the way, the people who you walk up to, they notice that every white guy you walked up to, you didn't go to dap up. They notice that. So don't just switch and dap them up. It's not the move. Be you. If you dap people up, that's totally fine. But if you don't all of a sudden shift it up. Be you, man. It's hard sometimes, but you've got to be you.
Nice to meet you. That's the firmest handshake.
We've all got to be us. We all have to be who we are, because that's what makes us all special. That's what makes us all able to connect, is that we have a lot more in common than what we realize, but we can't find that common ground unless we're being ourselves.
I think I've ever gotten.
No, I really didn't give it to you.
No? Okay. Oh my gosh. You're a thick dude, bro. What's your bench?
225.
No way.
That's it.
No, dude. How'd you get into lifting?
I've been doing it since I was 12.
Wow.
No way his
I
bench is
grew up
only
in,
225.
We were all athletic.
This man is so huge. I don't think people understand just how strong big dudes are. I think about this all the time when I'm at the gym and I see someone who's just bigger than me. I'm 6'1.5", 6'1" when I'm wearing something like Ultra Boost. But the people who are 6'4", 6'5", or even just have a lot of weight on me and carry that weight like they're a giant barrel are just so much stronger than me, even if they don't look like they have much larger muscles or if they don't look much more defined. Just the strength that they can harness with their muscle fibers is so much more than what I have.
Are you surprised to hear that Camden's a fitness desert, where there's not a lot of access to gyms?
People don't understand that we do have fitness here. Just because you don't see it, you don't hear it, that don't mean it's not here. We were once, back in the 80s, we were known as the state of Camden, not the state of New Jersey. Because anything you want as far as athletes concerned, came from Camden.
Damn, okay. There's gorillas everywhere.
Yeah.
And it says home of the silverback.
Yeah.
This man's voice is powerful.
Silverback.
That's you?
I'm the true gorilla.
You're the true really?
Look at that. Will is so strong, it's ridiculous, dude.
Yo, that's a PR. I've never gone to 5'3", 15". Let's go. You guys?
There's an effect that happens if you're a man and you're in the gym and there are other really large men around, the feeling of I can push any weight that I want to, because if this goes poorly, these guys are going to pull it off of me, and that's such an amazingly freeing feeling. I imagine that it's a really similar feeling to be a to be a lady in the gym with other girls hyping you up about how nice you look. I can only imagine that that's the same feeling. Whenever someone's like, you got it, dude, you got it. It just, oh my gosh.
I feel like you have any.
The gym is powerful. Take it from a dude who was one of those I'm those meatheads. In high school, that's who I was, and it's just so wrong. The people at the gym, the biggest dudes at the gym, are the nicest people and most often the smartest people. They're the ones who have figured out how to do it, and it's so rad, dude.
Unique challenges to staying in shape living in Camden, where there's like not really a lot of access to like fresh, healthy foods.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to get like brown rice, chicken breast. It's easier to just go to the next store.
Cheesesteak and fries. Cheesesteak and fries. So dieting here is pretty hard.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And that shit $5.
So you guys can't get Greek yogurt, egg whites, and stuff like that?
Around here?
Yeah.
Nah, you gotta go out.
And that's true too. I mean, it's 3 hours away to the nearest Whole Foods and the nearest Trader Joe's and stuff. So there's not a bunch of access to really, really good food around here as well. In fact, even at stores around here like Walmart, like Kroger, things like that, the produce is very often old and soggy and gross, and the meat has kind of a funk to it, and it's very bizarre. You definitely don't get the things like what you do in bigger places. And that's often one of the reasons that I want to move to a bigger city, is because I just want to live somewhere where I can go to a Trader Joe's on a regular basis. It sounds so silly, but when you come from a place to where, I mean, Ben and Jerry's is the height of cuisine usually around here in grocery stores. It's disheartening, you know? It doesn't make you feel like there's a lot to push for around here. I often tell people, you never see a Lamborghini around here. I don't even believe that people actually drive those cars because you never see one of them. You see an Audi or a Mercedes, or you'll see a couple Teslas, but that's about as far as it goes. And those people are usually businessmen. There's no one around here who has busted the mold wide open except for people who run mines or whatever. So it makes it hard to imagine yourself being able to do that. I very often think that me and my friends undersell ourselves on what we're capable of because we just haven't been shown that it's possible to do any of that.
Listen, bro.
The height of my friend's journey through music for a long time in his mind was just playing in a band where he got paid any money.
Don't quit mid-rap, bro. You got help.
How big this dude is. Bro, 150 in each hand.
One more.
Do you like all these like big chain like restaurants, like supermarkets and stuff? They're not coming here because I think they think it's almost like a risk to be here. They think they're just gonna like go bankrupt, lose a bunch of money.
Subaru came, Campbell's came. The Sixers came. We have kids now, so we want to give our kids quality food. We want to give our kids quality exercise,
100%.
And books, and all of these good things. So it does change.
And this is the thing, is that a lot of people who are very, very intelligent still live in these places. And you think of, well, if they are so smart, if they are actually good people, then why are they staying there? If it's because it's their home, because it's where they know, because it's where they come from, it's where their family is. Not everybody wants to strike out and go to someplace brand new. That's borderline deserting. And also a lot of these cities nowadays, Austin, LA, San Francisco, these places are losing population now, and they're moving to places that have lower costs of living because things have gotten so outrageously expensive. But so we need to improve all communities, not just communities of the rich and famous. It's frustrating to think that maybe businesses are going to have to take risks and do things to serve the world around them. But man, once you've gotten to a certain point where you've made so much money, don't you think that maybe it's time to start trying to figure out ways to solve problems with that money? And if that's not your modus operandi and you don't want to behave like that, you go ahead and feel that way. I don't care. But for me, if I want to accumulate wealth because I want to figure out how to do things with that wealth that will benefit the world in some kind of way.
You got businesses open in the city.
This the gorillas, this where we play. You gotta come get ugly with these gorillas.
Nah, but you gotta, what was I saying? Damn, what was I saying? Fucked it up, Pete.
Bro,
Fuck my whole mind up, P. I ain't the one that gotta do that shit.
Man, these guys are so
It's so
huge.
crazy. I came in here not knowing anybody. They just let me work in. It's like we're best friends now.
It's pretty clear the lifting community here is small, but the passion for it
Good
isn't
for
like any
Will.
I've ever seen before. It seems like a few of the locals disagree with the Fitness Desert title, mentioning many recreational sport leagues exist, and Camden being a hub for some pretty serious athletes.
How old are you, man?
19.
19. What the? Dude, you're fucking huge. How long have you been lifting for?
2 years. Almost 3 years. Almost 3 years.
Bro, there's something in the water in Camden.
Bro.
Holy shit.
I don't got a strict diet. I'm not gonna lie. I just make sure I get a lot of protein in and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Genetics crazy. Yeah, man, I think that a lot of times these communities from the outside looking in are very complicated. And I always find it interesting talking to people who have moved to my city recently as somebody who was born and raised here. They have a very different outlook on the city that I live in than I do, because they think things like, oh man, we love going to this restaurant and drinking the beer that's brewed there. We love going to this bookstore and going down to the secret cinema in the bottom and watching movies. And I thought to myself, like, yeah, dude, I used to love going to the bus station and buying cigarettes from a place called the Middle East Mart when I was 15 years old. That's what I think about this city. I used to love walking 8 miles across the city to go to my friend's house so that we could smoke pot. Like that's what my brain remembers about the place that I live. And it's really funny to meet people who don't have this same background. In my head, everybody has done the same nefarious deranged shit that I have done growing up. But very often what I realized talking to people who weren't born and raised here is that they had much better upbringings than I did. The height of their life of crime was a little underage drinking, or maybe doing a little bit of psychedelics or something. And they can't imagine a world where we would go to high school parties and there would just be piles and bowls of pills that kids had gotten from their parents' medicine cabinets and just throw them into this bowl in this party, and they were called party favors. I mean, people don't understand the kind of world that I come from. And so when they meet me and they just see, one of my crowning achievements is that I can pass for a normal person to people who don't understand my background. That's amazing, because it means that I have figured out how to orient myself in a way that has moved me away from the chaos and destruction of the place that I come from. But also, they will never understand how unbelievably close you are to the people that you grew up with, because they saw some insane shit with you. You guys have trauma bonds like nothing else.
Well, you're 19, man. It's gonna catch up to you.
I mean, I have friends who are no longer with us, and they died from drug overdoses, and other people that I consider to be friends ran their pockets while they were dying and left them there to die. Things like that.
I promise you.
I don't see that.
I will.
I might have to cut that out.
You're invincible now. You're 19, and then
I don't feel it yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. Do you think people are like intimidated to come in?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's not bad in here. It's out there in front of the gym though.
Not gonna lie, I was like, I don't know if I should even come in here.
You was nervous coming in?
I was nervous coming in here. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You played you on football? Yeah, correct. Okay. And was that last year?
It's scary, man.
A few years ago? Yeah. Okay, so you're obviously like very physically active all the time in the gym. Since coming back to Camden, has that been hard to maintain that?
No. Because I've been around the right crew, just the Broadway family right here.
Okay.
As long as you
It is so much about the people that you're around too. I mean, I think that that's super understated, and people might find that to be obvious depending on who you are. But if you stick around with people who do unhealthy, self-destructive stuff, you're going to become those people. That's just how the world works. And same way that if you come around people who go to the gym often and eat right, and they're always on their protein and they're always on their lifts, they're there 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and they're hitting their lifts and they're hitting you up to come with them to the gym, that will keep you so in line to do things in a proper way. And yeah, man, it's just, it's the case that you become the 5 or 6 people that you surround yourself with most, so you might as well make them the right people. Like I said, when I was younger, I just sort of felt like everyone did substances and drank and didn't work out and stuff like that because I wasn't around anyone who didn't do those things.
Stick around with him, but them, good. Yeah. Because I used to be lazy. But I don't know if we can curse, my bad.
Camden is one of the most dangerous cities in America, with violent crime rates 313% above the national average.
Yeah, we got a couple
Red means
cities like that
danger.
around too.
That's a lot of red. Because of this, Chris said he'd take us around town so we don't get mugged. So while he goes home and changes, we're gonna check out the city's main grocery store.
Behind me was a Pathmark, which was the only supermarket in all of Camden for 80,000 residents. And as you can see, it's completely abandoned. It went bankrupt in 2013, leaving nearly 300 people jobless. 8 years later, 2021, literally next door, there's a Save-A-Lot. But then all the locals are complaining about the prices of the food and the quality of the fresh produce. We're gonna go inside and check it out.
There was a, when I was young, I used to go to my friend's house during the summers, shout out Rob, and we would walk to Save-A-Lot from his house very often. And they had a soda in there called, it was a Mountain Dew ripoff. I want to say it was called Mountain Holler, and it had a weird 90s punk sort of photo of a guy yelling on the front of it, and I'll never forget that, man. Just the products in that store were just so knowingly off-brand that it was hilarious. I just think like, man, this is where we come from, huh?
How's it going? Might we ask you a few questions?
Yeah, you can ask me anything you want.
Are you surprised to hear that Camden is a food desert? Which is like, it's a place that's hard to access.
Nah, it's not surprising.
Okay. But would you say for the most part, are people pretty healthy here or no?
I say half and half.
Half and half?
Yeah, half.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm poor, but I'm healthy.
Okay. So are you surprised
So
to
I'm
hear?
rich in a way, because I'm healthy.
Yeah, health is all that matters.
Yes.
We're currently in the produce section, which is probably the smallest produce section I've ever seen in my entire life. There's not much. Usually it's like rows of stuff.
I was talking to my stepdad today about how grateful I am for the health that I have. You know, I have friends who have had extreme health complications at my age right now, and you know, I've had friends who have passed away. I have people in my life who are my age that have a hard time getting around and doing things, and so I'm unbelievably grateful to be able to go up to my grandmother's house and pull all of her weeds and put down mulch for her and cut her grass and help my parents out and do those things. It makes me so happy to know that I'm capable of doing that while keeping up with the rest of my life, because there was a time in my life where I was incapable of doing those things. Mentally, I was so messed up and having so many issues that I couldn't be good for anybody, and it took a lot of work to get to this point. So health really is the most important thing. I mean, I know I've heard lots of stories of people who are magnanimously rich and they have cancer that they're dying from, and they would give every drop of their money, and they would work for every year that they got in return to pay off a cure for what they have. So, I mean, you know, if you're healthy and able to do things and maybe things aren't going right for you, man, you still have just such a huge gift.
Not a lot going on here. People were saying that there was like fungus growing on the vegetables, but everything looks to be pretty good.
It was crazy walking the
Looks like
aisles of the
Kroger in here.
city's biggest grocery store and being the only ones. Lack of transportation is a huge issue. A lot of
Totally.
people don't have their own cars and have to rely on a lack of public.
Most people don't drive in the city that I'm in either. I know lots of people who just either never got a license or got a license and then got a car and then couldn't keep up with it or whatever. It's super common. I mean, and there's no public transportation around to speak of either. I mean, there's buses, but the bus system is terrible here. There's no trains. There's no taxis. There's nothing to get you around. So really, people have to stick to whatever neighborhood they're in, and everything is really, really spread out too. You're talking 10 plus miles just to get from your house to a store a lot of times. It's pretty surprising.
Public transportation to get here.
Stanley Hester admits he can't remember the last time he bought fresh fruits and vegetables.
You would have to go for like fast foods, junk foods, things of that nature. As far as quantity is concerned, it's limited.
He's not alone. For others like Stanley Hester, who can't access transportation easily, their only option is the small food bodegas that line many of the city's streets.
So we're in the meat section. A lot of the lower
Dollar
quality
General's
cuts,
Family
a lot of
Dollars.
pork. They don't have like super lean meats. Oh, they got chicken breast, $2.49 a pound. That's pretty good. With the exception of that little corner of produce in the meat aisle, the rest of the whole entire place is kind of like a convenience store. Lots of packaged candy, chocolate, chips, soda, popcorn, pretzels. A lot more than the average grocery store for sure. We got kicked out of the grocery store, but that wasn't that bad. That's definitely the best option that the locals have for fresh produce. But a lot of people can't have access to it, like I was saying.
Yeah,
so they
you still have to have a
resort
vehicle
things
to be able to
fast
get
food,
there.
Convenience stores and food bodegas. So we're gonna go check some of those out and see the quality of food that we can get. We're at the first corner store. This is, you grew up on this stuff?
Yeah, we ate a lot of this growing up.
Okay.
Cheeseburgers, cheese steaks, platters, fries.
Yeah, there was a place up where I grew up in and where I went to school called the Dairy Treat, and that was a place that we went to a lot and got pizza breads. I don't know if anyone knows what a pizza bread is, but if you do, shout out pizza breads, dude. Those things sustained me when I was a kid for sure.
You don't see that too often. Please remove
Pizza breads and pepperoni rolls, baby.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
If you've never been in a place like this before, it's really interesting. There's a town that I briefly went to college in, and the only grocery store in that place was a place like this. And you went into the back, and there would be a cooler that had Jones Soda, and it said, good soda, good price. And then right next to it was Frosty Top Soda, and it said, good soda, better price.
Oh, you gotta go back.
We gotta go back. We gotta go back.
This block though.
Looks like the closest thing I'll get to a veggie is an emoji on my phone.
Facts.
And there's all canned stuff here.
Yeah, you got a lot of canned goods.
Is this a predominantly diet for a lot of people?
Yes.
Like the protein sources and stuff? Wow.
Yeah, a lot of spam, a lot of
It's crazy because it seems like the
Vienna sausages. Man, people grew up on Vienna sausages around here, dude. You pull them out of there and just eat them raw, dude.
produce section's so small. I'm assuming
Smell
that's
like cat
because there's
food.
not a lot of want for it.
Bologna sandwiches was huge.
But this is it. Juice.
Wow, man.
Juice.
It's crazy.
Like,
it's just it's a very eye-opening thing because like just where I'm from, it's just being able to go and get groceries is so easy, and then here it's just like, yeah.
You ever seen noodles stacked like that?
Jeez.
That's just what we eat, though.
I mean, and this is the truth. You never see things like this. I mean, think about the amount of stuff that is on the shelf. That stuff is not on the shelf because they don't go through it. It's on the shelf because they sell all of that stuff. Look at these noodles.
Yeah,
look at how many noodles there are. They order something like this and they probably go through it. I mean, it's full. So probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, and they sell this stuff because that's what people are buying, because that's what they have access to. And if you've ever eaten instant noodles for multiple days in a row, you know that your health takes a dip because of it.
Jeez.
That's just what we eat, though.
Yeah.
And you would say this is like staple diet for most people here? Wow.
Bro, if you go to most people that I know's houses who are around my age, there will be no food in their house. If you don't come from a place where you know and understand what that means, then it would be a lot for me to explain to you what it means that there's no food in their house. I mean, people, they don't have access. They don't have time to cook for themselves because of how busy they are trying to keep their house paid for. And they just don't have anything to eat. So they end up going for quick food, or they end up having to buy stuff like this. And I mean, dude, it's brutal. The pipeline of eating junk food to being at a bar is a really straight line.
Noodles is mandatory to have in your kitchen. Peanut butter is mandatory to have in your kitchen. As a kid, you just want to jump.
And I'm not trying to talk down about people and their choices in life, but it is destructive to you, and it makes things harder and makes you have a more difficult time when you can't control what it is that you're doing with your own body. And these places make it really difficult to make decisions that allow you to take control of what it is that you're doing with your own body. And sometimes it's in a really literal sense. I mean, a lot of places like this have really strict laws about birth control or healthcare, or I mean, it's really bizarre, man. It's It's cheap, it's cost effective. It's how do we keep these people alive so they can keep doing the jobs that we need them to do without having to pay them enough money so they can actually have a good quality of life. It's slavery in some kind of way. And I know that that's a supercharged word, but it is. I mean, we are literally here to make the dreams of higher class people happen, and it's bizarre.
Junk food, you want snacks.
And then when you grow up on that, that's what you're used to, and you carry that with you. And then you give that to the next generation, and it just keeps on going.
When I was 15, I was working. My daily purchase would be $2 worth of peanut chews, $2 worth of fishies, and a half a gallon of juice every day.
Is this a pretty standard?
Yeah, dude. I was hanging out with a kid one time, and he said, "Yeah, I got to go get something to eat. I'll be back." And he came back, and he just had a pack of Sour Patch Kids and a body armor. That was his meal. That was his, I have to go get something to eat.
Bodega?
Yes.
And then is there any ones out there that are like better?
Better?
Like if we went to like one like that you would say is like the best one around to get like the best options?
This really standard.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Like to get better, you travel.
I feel like you come in with a grocery list and it turns out being a wish list because they just don't have what you're after. I noticed there's like a ton of abandoned buildings everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's that from?
Fires, people tearing buildings, just condemned buildings, like shit just falling apart. Old families will own them generations ago.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep a business going too. There's a really interesting thing that goes on where so a lot of places like where I live, they give out grants occasionally to try to get business going. But what happens is that the people around here don't have the money to go and spend in a lot of small businesses or boutiques or places that you might want to have in your town. So what happens is that the people who actually pocket that money are just the people that you're paying to get your shit started. Bigger corporations that you're buying product for, or people who are, running these large landlording companies to give retail spaces. These people are the ones who pocket this money that comes from taxpayers' pockets that's supposed to improve the community, but it gets given out to people who aren't going to be able to succeed. And it's really frustrating because I believe unless the people who are vetting this stuff just aren't aware, that it's pretty easy to tell when someone's business plan isn't going to succeed. Have businesses like this succeeded in this market before? Do you have a way that you're going to be able to be open in 4 years? And then a lot of times what happens, if you're not open in 4 years, if your business folds after you get this grant, then you have to pay that grant back. And so then you're just pulling money out of people's pockets and giving more of it to the government because you have to replenish that, even though a bunch of people already got their hands on that money and benefited from it. It's really a lot of times schemes to get people to have to pay you more money, to become indebted to the government. It's really, it's harsh.
But the kids, the grandkids, nobody took care of the buildings, so they just become condemned.
Would you say like fitness, like the gym, it saves a lot of kids from getting into like the gang situations and no?
School don't save them. A bunch of people are seeking for love and affection from other places. You may join a gang to find brotherhood. Your mom might be on drugs. Your mom might work a bunch of jobs, and you might want to help your mom. So you might do what you feel like you got to do.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that you see is drugs. Oh.
Dude, and that is so real. I can't tell you how many people that I know sold drugs because it was just the thing to do. That if you want to talk about a market where the item that you're selling sells, man, drugs are, oh my gosh, so prevalent. Drugs sell themselves. It is very easy, and as long as you cannot use too much of them yourself, man, you can absolutely make money off of it, and you can do it over the course of a few days. And it's so, like he said, it's the only thing you see. I mean, it's mines, it's plants, and most of those places don't hire anymore. So when you're a kid, man, I mean, it's like you still have YouTube, and you still get to see people who are out there living a big bombastic life, but you have literally zero method of doing that yourself. When I was a kid, man, I had never seen a digital camcorder. I didn't know how to make videos. How was I going to do this entertainment thing that I was seeing on the internet? So what do you turn to? You turn to the only thing that you see people making money with, which a lot of times is selling drugs, especially people of your peers who are 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, it is just rampant, dude.
A lot of kids turn to it because you don't have that many people showing you amazing lives that are school teachers.
That's exactly what I said.
Corrections officers, and you don't see that. And then a lot of us don't have that
role model
belief that we can be those things.
You have kids, right?
Yeah, I got 3 girls.
You got 3 girls?
Listen to way his voice changed, bro.
Be those things.
You have kids, right?
Yeah, I got 3 girls.
I got 3 girls. This man is awesome,
3
dude.
girls?
I got 3 girls, bro. 15, 10, and 1.
You don't want them growing up in here, right?
I don't want them around the violence. I don't want them without certain resources.
Do you think a lot of people who live here, it's like one of those
But
things
it's home still. This is what people are, well, then why don't you just leave then? Because it's my home, dude. And I'm not saying that I will always live here my entire life, every single year of my life that I'm going to be here. But it's my home. Where else am I going to go that's home? All of my family is here. My brothers are here. My parents are here. My uncles and aunts and my grandmother and my nieces and nephew and people are just around that where else am I gonna go, dude? It shouldn't be that, oh, well then just move then. Just leave your family and go. So, no, dude, we live in this country and we pay taxes and we put in the same effort. We should get some of that opportunity too. That good old American dream, buddy.
You can't escape it.
That's a feeling.
Yeah.
That's a real feeling.
I found this interesting. So we were staying in Philly.
Okay.
We didn't have to pay a toll to come into Camden.
But you got to pay.
But we had to pay a toll to come back. So do you think that's a tactic to kind of keep people here?
Yeah, dude. The toll roads to get out of West Virginia, if you're heading up through the southern, if you're heading to south, I mean, you're talking $4 through 3 toll booths, so that's $12 just to get out. It's crazy.
It's definitely a tactic.
Wow, man.
To get to Philadelphia with tolls, it takes 14 minutes. Without tolls, it takes nearly 2 hours. Why can I drive from Philadelphia to Camden so easily? It seems like the people of Camden never had a chance, and it's been rigged to stay that way.
The tolls were designed to pay for the bridges. Once the bridges are paid off,
dude,
what are we still paying?
I say this all the time. The tolls were designed to pay for the highways. How come those highways have been paid off for years and still we're paying tolls, and the tolls have gone up?
Toll 4. You got bodegas across the street from each other. You got a pharmacy. That's one.
Bro, the government, I'm not going to get into it.
On a few. I think it's 3 pharmacies in the city.
There's 3 pharmacies in the whole city?
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 pharmacies in the whole city.
People think of the government as being one single power group. They think of it as being this figurehead of Biden right now, and they think that's what the government is. The government is largely made up of hired employees, not of people who have been elected in. And there are bodies of power within the government that are constantly vying for power against each other. CIA, the FBI, there's these places that are trying to run things because they want to be the ones in charge. Power corrupts people. When you have people who are in positions of power, they want more of it. That's what happens. And the people who are running for office are very often not the ones who are in charge. And so things are weird, and there are a lot of things are very rarely an accident. They are made the way that they are because they work for a purpose. And if things are bad somewhere, well, I wonder what that purpose is.
We do have a CVS, but the CVS is more on the outskirts. It's closer to actually leaving the city.
Sometimes when I'm making a video like this, I think about that episode of Black Mirror where he where the 10 million credits episode, where the guy has to cycle in order to get enough credits to get onto this game show or whatever, and that's how you get out of this world where all you do is cycle day in and day out and buy stuff on these little screens. And he finally gets, he has all these credits. His brother left him. His brother died and left him a bunch of credits. And he meets this girl who can sing really well, so he gives her the credits so that she can go on this talent show and sing. And she goes on that talent show and she sings and everyone's laughing or whatever. But there's this one guy who's a new judge on that talent show, and he runs the porn channel, and he says, hey, you know, I don't care about your singing, but like, I'll pay you to be one of my girls. And she's been drugged and everything, so she goes for that, and she is that thing. And then this guy is filled with so much rage that he forgoes eating and sleeping, and he just cycles nonstop, and he builds off his merits, and he gets so angry because he's in his bed, and there's an ad that comes on for her episode, and it's a full episode of her doing her new work, and it's unskippable for him because he doesn't have the credits to skip the ad anymore because he gave her the one, so he has to sit there. So he goes crazy and he breaks all these things, and he gets the shard, and he gets on that episode, and he holds it up to his neck. He finally gets on the talent show himself, and he holds up to his neck when he gets there, and he says, I'm not going to hurt anyone, I just want to say my piece, and then I'll move on. And he goes off about how terrible this world is, and then everyone starts clapping, and one of the guys says, hey man, that knife thing, cool gimmick. We could give you a TV show where you do this every week. And it's like, it doesn't change anything. It's just this weird form of entertainment where I'm showing up every single week to rant about these things where we are all frustrated, and it's this weird cathartic soothing thing, and it's almost like it's appreciated by the powers that be. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, but see, it's abandoned.
And building. I know that, and I'm still showing up to do it.
After abandoned building.
Abandoned building after abandoned building. Another pizza shop. More Chinese food. That's the third Chinese store on this road. Look, 2 more corner stores across the street from each other. Another liquor store. How much liquor is?
Dude.
How much liquor can we drink?
Liquor stores are literally on every corner. And do you think that's strategically put here for people to fail?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. There's no way that you only give access to liquor and fast food. We're gonna go to this market right here.
This is like new?
This is new. Had meat and supermarket.
Okay.
This has been in the city for a few years now.
I saw a place pop up like this in a local town that I had been to somewhat recently. I was there doing an event, and there was a place that looked sort of like this. It was the name of the city and then supermarket.
One of our biggest markets.
It's already a lot different. When you walk into like a grocery store back at home,
this is cool.
It's like veggies first.
Yeah.
And now it's just like packaged stuff first.
Yes. You ever been anywhere and seen a wall full of soup?
We just saw this. Yeah. This section of the produce is like the size of like where you get like a drink.
That's it.
It's like, that's it.
That's it.
That's literally it.
That's it.
This whole place. That's the produce. This is it. What the? That's wild, bro.
So?
That's the only fruits and veggies in this whole place.
I mean, this is the way a lot of supermarkets are around here. Thank goodness for places like Kroger or Walmart or Sam's, because if it wasn't for those places, even though they're a lot of a drive for a lot of people, thank goodness for those places, because this is what it looks like, man. Piggly Wiggly's. You go to a Piggly Wiggly, and this is literally the same kind of store. And I love Piggly Wiggly's because I grew up in places like that. There was a place where I used to grow up called IGA, and that grocery store sold those little fruit barrels and the push pops that were like the Flintstones orange sherbet push pops and stuff. And we'd go there and get Little Debbie fudge rounds and things. And so I love stores like that. I love stores that sell slices of cake in packages for $2 because it's comfort to me. It makes me know that I'm someplace that I know and that I've been before. And a lot of places that I go to, when I go to a Whole Foods, or I've been to Erewhon one time, or when I go to these really fancy places out west or wherever, I always feel so strange. I had a feeling one time I was Tiff's family is much more high class, high society than I am, I think. And sometimes I'll end up at decently fancy places with them. And I always have this feeling of, man, I feel way more camaraderie with the people who are serving me food right now than I do with the people that are around me eating right now. And I don't know if I'll ever shake that feeling. I don't know if I'll ever be able to feel like, oh, I'm where I'm supposed to be, living anything other than a life where I'm walking to a Save-A-Lot to buy Mountain Holler.
Dude, I'm like, this is like worse than I thought.
But look, they got it underneath the juice.
Yeah.
How you put your produce underneath of the juice, underneath the sugar.
When people get paid here, you get your paycheck. It's just like you're set up to fail. It's lots of juice though, man.
Facts.
Wow.
Lots of sugar.
Bro,
lots of sugar.
Look at it, dude. This is what it's like.
This is a grocery.
You don't get it too, man. This is the thing. This is not to be that guy who sounds absolutely unhinged and crazy, but the sugar keeps you numb. It is a drug that makes you feel good. And even though your situation is disparate, it is a cheap drug that you can put into your body to remove yourself from that thing. The ability to intake pleasure in the form of dopamine because of the quick carbohydrates that you're putting into your brain is a drug. And a lot of people are on that drug, and it keeps them away from the understanding of what's going on to them, or at least it makes them more okay with what's going on to them. In my opinion, it's purposefully done to keep us away from trying to do something about this problem, because they need us to be here. They need us to mine their coal. They need us to make their steel. They need us to put their electronics together. They need us to do these things. And so instead of giving us a good life, because I don't believe that it's possible to give everybody the quality of life that they have, they give us sugar, bro, and they shorten our lifespans so that we don't have to live as long, and they make sure that we reproduce a lot by making it harder for us to get birth control, and they do lots of really bizarre things to us. And the only way for you to take back your humanity for those things is to come to terms with those facts. And for me personally, the way to take back my humanity is to buck all of those things and to not to break that hold that they have on me in some kind of way. And I know that sounds egotistical and crazy, but it's an act of defiance. And I have been a rebellious person ever since I've been a kid.
Grocery store a lot of us are used to walking into, faced with fruits and veggies first, but this was unlike any grocery store I've ever seen before, full of high-calorie processed foods with a little fresh produce section hiding in the back corner. It's no surprise that 43% of Camden adults are obese, 38% have high blood pressure, and 17% have diabetes.
Now that I'm a corrections officer, bro, like, and I realized what's going on, a lot of the foods in my community resemble jail food.
Yeah, dude.
Soups, the rice, the fucking high sodium sardines and the fish pouches and the tuna. And when you realize like everything is by design and nothing is by coincidence, it makes you question a lot of shit, bro. I don't think any of it is by accident.
It's kind of scary.
It's crazy,
It's
right?
scary when you actually see it. Right across the river is Philly, where they have tons of supermarkets, salad bars, gyms. They got even Chipotle's. I associate Philly with like cream cheese and Philly cheesesteaks, but I think for people here, it's kind of like the Garden of Eden. It's just crazy that like.
Dude, yeah, man, it's so funny how cities that you people who are from. Not you, but people who are from New York or LA or all those places would think over as flyover bullshit, I don't want to go there cities. So people like me are the big city where there's all of this stuff that I wish that I had access to. It's unbelievable how difficult it is for me to make a 3-hour trip somewhere, you know? And so to me, those places that have, 750,000 population versus the 30,000 that the place that I'm from has just seem like the Garden of Eden.
They have all these things. It's like, why can't it come here?
Yeah.
What prevents Camden
because we're the riffraff, dude.
From being the city that it could be? The main issue is poverty. Camden was once America's poorest city in 2012, now with a median annual income of just over $27,000.
It's America's poorest city now. Detroit, Michigan. The 10 poorest. Bloomington, Indiana. Reading, Pennsylvania. Flint, Michigan. Greenville, North Carolina. Birmingham, Alabama. Detroit, Michigan. San Marcos, Texas. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio? Really? That's wild. Jackson, Mississippi. Far, Texas. Word. I'm shocked there's not a city in my state on there. And I have a hard time believing some of that, but that's pretty wild.
And a 36% poverty rate.
Another thing about Camden being a fitness desert is that they're saying that like a lot of people are actually afraid to go for runs. A lot of people are afraid to go to the parks. And the park is like the best place. It's basically a free gym membership.
Yeah, dude.
You don't run for exercise here.
You run because you have to, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's just what we always knew. If you run, I'm running. I don't know why you running, but I'm running. I ain't waiting to find out.
So it really seems like your generation is the ones that are going to fix this city.
I believe so.
Yeah. For like to set your kids up for.
We just have to get back to being taxpayers and being owners in the city. We can fix it.
Yeah. Straight up. Straight up.
Hello.
And that's such a real thing. Being taxpayers and being owners in the city is such a dream for most people who live in places that have troubled economies. It is when every single dime that you have is being taken away from you in order for you to just stay alive. It is borderline impossible to dig yourself far enough out of the hole in order to be able to get a credit score high enough that somewhere will actually give you a loan so that you can actually buy some property.
It's so cute.
Thank you.
Do you find is it hard to eat healthy around here, do you think?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
I've been homeless for 4 years. I was homeless when I was pregnant with him. So it's really a struggle out here. I don't have a job right now.
Right.
So it's even harder. Food stamps don't cover it that much. A lot of people out here,
$209 those you get for food stamps.
Pregnant and then drugs and stuff like that. But we women like do struggle. And me as a mom, I'm struggling at the moment, so it's even worse.
What do you think is the biggest thing the community needs to like help people?
Food, clothes, a job. And if they accept it, because sometimes here in Camden, I don't think they would.
They don't accept it.
But women, they'll do anything for their kid, and especially with diapers that they need, like formula, it's super expensive. So it was really hard. I cried. I was stressing. I can't even imagine. Yeah. Through snow, I dealt with it one time, and it's really rough. My feet got numb. I was super cold. It was terrible. I couldn't deal with it.
Why didn't she just pull herself up by her bootstraps? Why didn't she just grind harder and just stop spending money on frivolous things? Why didn't she just do that, dude? That's what people sound like. That is what people sound like. It is insane to say things like that when you have people that are struggling like this.
Anymore. Yeah. And I was trying to go to the shelter, but by the time I got there, it was closed. So I was freezing, looking for somewhere to be warm at. Hopefully, in God's hands, you know, I can leave it on and He can give me this job, because I've been applying for jobs and none of them have been able.
There is so much rhetoric around stuff like this where people say things that just come down to the effect of, why? Well, you know, the real fault, it doesn't matter who the fault belongs to. It doesn't matter what got the people into these situations. Are you going to try to help them, or are you going to continue to sit around and just make fun of them and poke at them and act like they're not people? That's the thing that I think that just irritates me so much about the way people behave online towards things, is that you want to point out well, I'm so clever that I can think of all these things that they should have done differently. And dude, nobody cares, bro. Do you have a time machine to go back and fix it? Because if not, then brother, why are you doing this? Are you trying to prove how bad of a person you are? Is that your goal, to every job interview that you go to for the rest of your life, to have people pull up this comment? Is that why you're leaving it? Jeez, dude.
Able to hire me, so I'm doing my best to do it.
How are you not upset hearing this?
So
Thank
cute.
you.
Yeah. Hi.
Good on Will, dude. Will is such a top tier creator, dude. I mean, this is a guy who really gets information out there. And I mean, think about how uncomfortable it must be for him to sit here in his position and listen to her say this, man. Think about how difficult it must be for him to put himself in these situations. And nothing compared to what this woman has gone through, but still he is going out of his way to be uncomfortable so that he can try to do some good for people.
Look at the mic. Yeah. You want to interview your mom?
Don't put it in your mouth.
We went to go check out a local park, and I was quite shocked with what I saw. Beautiful baseball diamond, basketball court, and a lot of grass, and even a mini calisthenics area to work out.
It just pulls at my heartstrings, dude. I don't know what to say. It breaks my heart that this is the way the world is, and that people spend so much of their time trying to explain it away so they don't have to feel some kind of way about it. It's just, I just don't know why it's so hard for people to feel kindness and compassion. I don't get it, and I don't think I ever will.
But nobody was here.
Huh. So I wonder why, like, where people are getting that idea that, like, people just don't feel safe. Do you feel like Camden's often, like, judged how it used to be?
Yes. One more. What I got? Oh.
See a big man?
Let's see what I got. Oh. That feel good.
I feel like the more that we like walk around, the more that I can't really see the fitness desert thing. It's like, why do you think that it's called that?
Fitness is hard to choose.
Over, yeah.
You have kids.
Yeah.
A lack of resources sometimes. Like when you don't have all the money you need, sometimes like, how the hell am I choose fitness when I need to go to work? They find so many reasons as to why you can't do it instead of why you can.
There's clearly a huge problem.
100%. It's really, I am unbelievably lucky for the life that I have. Just no doubt. I know that I made the decisions that got me here, but I am so lucky that I am the type of person to make those kinds of decisions. And I'm just grateful every single day for whatever roll of the dice I got, whatever plan God had, whatever it happened to be that got me to where I am now. I am just, I mean, blessed. Blessed doesn't even begin to describe it.
Problem here in Camden, but what are people doing to combat it?
Another solution is community gardens. There are 116 in Camden. The Camden City Garden Club gave out over 200,000 vegetable transplants last year. But Devlin says the
good for them though. I got a friend who does community gardens and who raises gardens and things, and man, his stuff looks sick, man.
Are only part of the solution. He says it's imperative for the city to have a second grocery store.
The people in Camden are poor or working poor or retired. They spend on average, the statistic is 40% of their annual income on food.
That's so brutal.
Community gardens have begun to pop up more and more, allowing residents to grow their own vegetables to incorporate more fresh produce in their diet, all while saving money.
There's over 100 community gardens in Camden, and here's one of them. So was this around when you were a kid?
No.
Here they're growing some cherry tomatoes.
Nice.
Yeah.
This look like cabbage.
Yeah, cabbage, yeah.
That's amazing, bro.
It's cool, though, that you see people making the steps to make the change,
yes.
Right, you know?
Yes. The more you can encourage the steps and create the environment to make the change, it can happen.
This is a good film, dude. Will really went all out with this. Man, he makes such good content, man.
We're good?
We're good.
Will sweating a little bit.
This is one of the most popular spots in Camden. Donkey's Place. Carnival. You can cross the street. Can't argue with that convenience.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah. I feel like this place is going to kick some ass. Dude. Yeah. The girth on this thing.
Bro, that looks so good.
This is my first cheesesteak ever.
For real?
Yeah. It's like I hit the jackpot in sandwich form, bro. Oh my god.
That's amazing.
It's crazy with comfort food, they never talk about the digestive experience. Because I feel like I'm gonna be taking like 6 hours to digest this thing, dude. So far, it just seems like growing up here, you kind of have two paths.
And that's the thing too, man. I mean, it's so much easier than you think it is to make friends. Most people want to make friends, they just don't know how. You're sitting around in your head thinking, oh my goodness, this person is way cooler than me. They're way better than me. I shouldn't even talk to them, blah, blah, blah. Dude, they're sitting in their head thinking the exact same thing about you. So just say a little something, dude. Just make a joke. Just tell them that they're looking big, dude. Just say a nice thing to them. Just say, man, bro, you know, your shoulder's so wide, I had to turn sideways to walk by you. And you get a little chuckle, and then you know that they understand your humor, and then you can hit it off. It's really easy, man.
But the very easy path is to go down like the wrong road. And then it's really hard to kind of get out of it.
At the same time, though, that easy path is the hardest route.
Dude.
Because it comes with so much.
Yeah.
So
throw your life away.
The right road, which already has its challenges, and now you're just trying to steer clear of the bullshit.
Man, good job, Will. Absolutely killer video. I hope that video was fun for some of you to watch too. I know I got emotional in a couple of parts, but like it strikes home for me, man. I mean, it's absolutely brutal living in places like that where there's more liquor stores than there are grocery stores, and you know, a lot of the people that you went to high school with have just been drunk since they were 21 and doing drugs before that, and it's absolutely brutal. So, you know, go give Will's video a like. Go follow Will, dude. Will's awesome. If you don't know anything about Will, go watch some of his videos. And dude, he's killer, dude. He's funny. He's jacked beyond belief, and he's awesome, man.